because one of the ways that you share all of this magic that you've just been talking about and sharing is through healing circles and the gathering of people, right? So this coming together as a community for connection, listening to energy, all of the practices that you talked about, listening to energy, tapping into intuition, prayer, everything, but with the added extra bonus of being in a community and sharing the space with others and having the interplay of a group of people who have gathered to share the space and to dive deeper. So what do you think is like that next piece of like sitting in space with other people who are ready to listen, who desire to listen, who want to be supported as well in that way? What is the benefit of that? Like, what's the beauty? Why do you love that so much?
Oh, I'm so in love with circles. Oh, I just am like feeling so much love. I barely have words.
I love those things. Those are my favorite. I know everyone can still feel the non-words.
Yeah. And if you can't come to a circle, and we can work on that. The reason that I love circles so much is because they healed me so much. Because we learn to split from ourselves and to trust in the like mind and words and other people outside of us. We learn that in relationship, and we need to heal that in relationship.
Oh.
So when we sit in a circle and everyone desires to learn how to be truly in their bodies, truly expressing their like real self, and to listen to energy together, it's incredibly healing. It's like, oh, it's so amazing. So one of the main amazing experiences I've had, and people who come to circles have, is this feeling of feeling something in our own bodies and judging ourselves for it, mistrusting ourselves, and then realizing everybody else feels that too.
Wow.
Because we talk about it, you know? So it might be that every time someone opens their mouth, it just feels like, oh my God, like, are they just running their fingers on a chalkboard? Like, why is that so painful to me? You know? And you're sitting there and you're like, I'm meant to be spiritual. I'm not meant to feel this. But really, that person pisses you off every time they open their mouth. And then I, as the guide or host or my teacher or the other people who also run them from this same lineage, will address it. I'll say it out loud, you know, with so much love. When you open, like when you're sharing, I feel like maybe you feel like you have to pretend with us. And I'm just wondering if you can share how you're actually feeling in this moment. Like, just drop all of that, like what you think you have to say. Can you be with us? And can you share? I know it's vulnerable and I know it's scary, but can you share maybe just what you're feeling in your body as a sensation right now? And creating safety for them to drop beyond that program that is not them. But that they've learned, to drop beyond that, deeper than that, into, and like what will happen when you address a program like that, is that the trauma that program was created to protect unlocks. Yes. So if there's safety, so, you know, sharing that, and it's like I see it as energetic surgery. It is so, I see it as such a huge responsibility. You know, I need to create like the pre-care of like, this is where we're going, and like, and then gently, like with the finest slice of the blade, like just let them know that this is a thing that they're doing that they don't have to do anymore. And then slowly like close up and like create safety. And I don't know, like, I'm human and I don't always get it perfect, but I see it as such a huge responsibility. I feel like I got lost in the huge
No,
responsibility
I
part.
just,
And
you know what? I love how you speak about it with such tenderness. Like even
yeah.
if you were explaining what it may look like, hey, I can't even say it in your words because I'm not you. I don't have your superpower, so I can't actually even pretend to be you. But I felt like, oh, like it's such a softness as
Mm.
opposed to, hey, you're not being honest. Can you say it in a way where you're being real? Which like I'm like, oh fuck, I've stuffed up. How I done it wrong. And activates all these feelings. But the way that literally just the way that you spoke with such softness and tenderness made me feel like I could open into
Mm.
curiosity and
Mhm.
wonderment. As opposed to feeling like I had to do it.
Mhm.
And that I was like, that's a superpower. I don't know if everyone can do that.
Thank you. It's years of training. It truly is.
I still think
Because
it's
can
a
you
superpower.
imagine me as like this young thing who's like, I see all of the things that are going on. And I went into circles, my teacher's hosting it. So I'm not the one doing the pre-surgery and the post-surgery. And I'm like, like cutting with the blades. Like, I'm like, yeah, and actually this is how I feel. And so my teacher guided me that there is a sense of like gentleness. And I really feel like there is no healing without safety. Like if you don't feel safe, and even it doesn't matter how true what someone is saying to you is, if it doesn't come with love, it's not healing.
Mhm.
And so that is my responsibility, love and safety. And it is fighting off with people's ego programs, like those ego
Not the hell of a
programs.
fight sometimes.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
know. And so sometimes I need to be really like lovingly fierce. Like, this is your ego program right now. This is your defense program, and it's actually hurting you. Like, as you say this to me, you think that you're protecting yourself, but you're actually hurting yourself. And you need, I invite you now, can you just try this on, like just see if it works for you. I like to throw those things in for safety. Like, can you just step aside and do you feel like I'm loving you in this moment? Like, am I trying to connect with you and love you? Am I trying to share something that you don't need anymore and offer you a chance to let it go? Or am I trying to hurt you? And like trying to get them to step outside of the ego program, to drop down that little bit further and feel, is this safe? Like, could I just open? And that's what I was going to say before, is that when an ego program is addressed with like the level of embodiment that we do in these circles, that embodied transmission, like, because I can see it, my body transmits it through my words. Like, my whole body is speaking, my whole energy field is speaking. So then it goes over into their energy field and it unlocks the ego program, and the trauma that's underneath it rises up. So then suddenly, as they're like being shared, like this is being shared, they feel small and like unlovable and unworthy. And so then I can see that happening though. So then I'm like, I imagine right now you might be feeling this, and that's the trauma underneath, and it's unlocking. And I just want you to bring so much love and tenderness as that's unlocking, and then it's going to move through. Just keep letting it move through, so I'm like watching as everything is unfolding and guiding through until they get to this like clear, loving, safe place underneath it. It's so much fun. It's
It's
so
so
much
true for
fun.
you. Oh, it sounds like just mastery is the word. Like I'm hearing the level of mastery that is involved in being that energetic surgeon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly devoted. Yeah, just to listening to spirit and continually looking at my own blind spots. I've sat in a lot of those circles and I've had a lot of feedback. And I continue to.